Let's explore my latest curiosity. Today, we're diving into the world of philosophic razors, simple tools to help you make better decisions. You know, we live in a world awash in information, a veritable supernova of data constantly exploding around us. It can be paralyzing trying to make sense of it all, let alone figure out what's truly important. That's where these razors come in. Just like a good razor gives you a clean, precise shave, philosophic razors help you cut through the clutter and get to the heart of the matter. No, they won't tell you what to think, but they will give you a framework for thinking more clearly and effectively. So buckle up, get ready for some serious mental sharpening, and let's explore these 5 incredibly useful thought tools. Our first razor takes us back to the 14th century, to the mind of Franciscan friar William of Ockham. Occam's razor, as it's known, states that when faced with competing hypotheses, the one with the fewest assumptions should be selected. In other words, the simplest explanation is usually the best. Think about it. If you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras, right? Unless you're in the middle of the Serengeti, of course. The point is, Occam's razor reminds us to avoid unnecessary complexity and look for straightforward answers. This principle has served scientists well for centuries. It's why we don't assume invisible unicorns are causing disturbances in our experiments when a loose wire is a far more likely culprit. Occam's razor keeps us grounded and focused on the most probable explanations. Next up is Hanlon's razor, a more modern addition to our mental toolkit. This one advises us to never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. Now, before you go thinking this means we're assuming everyone's walking around clueless, let's be clear. Hanlon's razor isn't about excusing bad behavior, it's about avoiding the trap of assuming ill intent when something far less sinister, like plain old incompetence or a simple misunderstanding, is at play. Think of it this way. How often have you been frustrated by something, convinced someone was out to get you, only to find out it was just an honest mistake? Happens all the time, right? Hanlon's razor reminds us to take a breath, consider alternative explanations, and avoid unnecessary drama. For our third razor, we turn to the late, great writer and polemicist Christopher Hitchens. Hitchens' razor, often used in debates, states, "What can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence." This razor is all about intellectual rigor. It challenges us to back up our claims with solid evidence and not just accept things at face value. After all, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, right? Whether we're evaluating a news story, a scientific claim, or even just a friend's outlandish tale, Hitchens' razor reminds us to demand proof, question assumptions, and think critically about the information we encounter. Our fourth razor, Alder's razor, takes a decidedly practical approach. It posits that if something cannot be settled by experiment or observation, then it is not worthy of debate. This razor, named after philosopher Mike Alder, urges us to focus on questions that can be answered through empirical evidence, things we can test and observe in the real world. While philosophical pondering has its place, Alder's razor encourages us to prioritize the practical and the solvable. Think about the endless debates that have raged on for centuries about the nature of consciousness or the existence of free will. Alder's razor suggests we set aside these unanswerable questions, at least for now, and focus on issues where we can make tangible progress. Finally, we arrive at Newton's flaming laser sword, the most potent razor in our arsenal. A more forceful version of Alder's razor, it proclaims, "If something cannot be settled by experiment, it is not worth debating." This razor, named in jest but with a serious point, cuts to the chase. It demands empirical evidence and rejects arguments based solely on speculation, conjecture, or personal beliefs. As the name suggests, it's not for the faint of heart. Newton's flaming laser sword reminds us that while we can debate endlessly about things we cannot prove or disprove, it's the pursuit of verifiable knowledge grounded in evidence that truly advances our understanding of the universe and our place in it. Thanks for joining me today. Simplify your life with these philosophic razors and make better decisions every day. Remember, these razors are tools, and like any tool, they can be used effectively or poorly. The key is to use them thoughtfully, with a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to change your mind when presented with new information. So, go forth, armed with your newfound mental weaponry, and slice through the complexities of life with clarity and confidence.